The shocking takeover nobody saw coming, how Brian Okora just walked into Maurice Sam's spot like he owned the place. You know that feeling when you blink for just a second and suddenly everything has changed. Like, you look away from Nollywood for maybe 2 months, and when you come back, the entire landscape has shifted like tectonic plates during an earthquake. Well, that's exactly what's happening right now, and honestly, I'm still trying to catch my breath from the whiplash. If you've been paying even the slightest attention to what's going on with Sonia Uche and her on-screen partnerships, you already know there's been some serious shaking of tables happening. Maurice Sam, the man who practically built his career alongside Sonia, the guy who fans shipped with her in every single movie like they were the African version of a Hollywood power couple, seems to have been gently but firmly escorted out of his throne. And who's sitting there now, looking all comfortable and unbothered? Brian Okora. Yes, Brian Okora just walked in, grabbed the remote, changed the channel, and made himself completely at home in the space Maurice once occupied. I tried to ignore it at first, I really did. I told myself it was just fan talk, just social media doing what social media does best, which is blowing things completely out of proportion. But then the evidence kept piling up like dirty laundry on a Sunday evening, and I realized this wasn't just gossip anymore. This was a full-blown shift in the industry, and we need to talk about it. Let me paint you a picture of what's actually happening on the ground right now, because if you're not paying close attention, you might miss the subtle earthquake rumbling beneath the surface of Nollywood. Producers, those all-powerful gatekeepers who decide which actors get paired together and which stories get told, are now casting Sonia Uche and Brian Okora together more frequently than they are pairing Sonia with Maurice Sam. Think about that for a moment. Maurice and Sonia were practically inseparable on screen for the longest time. They were the golden duo, the pairing that guaranteed views, engagement, and endless conversations on social media. Fans would literally wait for their movies to drop like people wait for the next season of their favorite series. But something shifted, something fundamental changed in the atmosphere, and now it's Brian who's getting those calls from producers. It's Brian who's standing next to Sonia in those romantic scenes, in those dramatic confrontations, in those tender moments that used to belong exclusively to Maurice. And here's the thing that makes this even more fascinating. Many people believe, whether it's true or not, that Maurice Sam made a choice to stand with power, and that single decision has fundamentally affected how both fans and producers perceive him now. In the court of public opinion, which let's be honest is often harsher than any real courtroom, Maurice was judged, and the verdict apparently wasn't in his favor. Meanwhile, Brian Okora didn't have to do anything dramatic or controversial. He just showed up, did his job, respected the craft, and suddenly found himself being welcomed into a space that was previously occupied territory. Now, the fans, those wonderful, passionate, sometimes ruthlessly honest arbiters of who rises and who falls in the entertainment industry, are showing an overwhelming amount of love and support for the Sonia and Brian Okora pairing. I'm talking about the kind of love that translates into comments, shares, views, and most importantly, the kind of organic buzz that money simply cannot buy. They're not just casually liking the pairing, they are actively championing it, defending it, promoting it like they're getting paid commission for every new convert they bring into the fold. Some fans have even started jokingly welcoming Brian Okora into what they call Sonia Uche's house, like he's a new family member who just moved in and immediately started fixing things that were broken. The humor in their comments is real, but underneath that humor is a very serious message. They prefer this new dynamic, they are comfortable with this change, and they have no intention of going back to the old arrangement. Initially, I'll be honest with you, I completely ignored these comparisons because I thought they were just the usual social media noise, the kind of thing that trends for 3 days and then disappears like morning mist. But this conversation didn't fade away. Instead, it got louder, more insistent, more impossible to ignore, like a drumbeat that starts soft but gradually builds until it's all you can hear. What makes this situation even more intriguing, and frankly a bit sad depending on how you look at it, is that Sonia Uche and Maurice Sam don't appear to be as close as they once were. I'm not saying they're enemies or that there's bad blood necessarily, but that effortless chemistry, that natural camaraderie they once displayed both on screen and off, seems to have evaporated like water on hot pavement. There was a time when you could feel their friendship radiating through the screen, when their interviews together felt genuine and warm, when their social media interactions suggested a bond that went beyond just professional collaboration. But now it's different. The warmth has cooled considerably, and if I'm being completely honest, it almost looks like their relationship, whether it was friendship, professional partnership, or something fans hoped was more, has hit rock bottom. I don't know what conversations happened behind closed doors, what decisions were made, what boundaries were drawn, but the result is visible to anyone with functioning eyeballs. Meanwhile, while Maurice and Sonia's connection appears to be on life support, the Sonia and Brian Okora pairing is getting absolutely massive hype, the kind of attention that makes marketing executives weep tears of joy because they know they've struck gold. People aren't just watching their content, they are dissecting it, discussing it, creating fan art about it, and basically doing all the free promotional work that studios dream about. The speed of this transition is what truly shocks me, and I've been watching Nollywood long enough that I thought I'd seen everything. I mean, I've witnessed careers rise and fall, seen actors go from unknown to superstar in what feels like minutes, watched as public opinion swings like a pendulum on steroids. But even with all that experience, I'm genuinely surprised at how quickly this shift happened. It wasn't a gradual decline where Maurice slowly faded from the picture while Brian gradually emerged. No, this felt almost instantaneous, like someone flipped a switch and suddenly the entire industry and fanbase decided collectively that Brian Okora was the new favorite, the new king of the castle, the new man standing beside Sonia Uche in that coveted position. And here's something that added even more fuel to this already raging fire. Sonia and Brian have a new movie coming up, and the announcement of that project sent social media into an absolute frenzy. People are already declaring it a hit before a single scene has been released to the public. The anticipation is real, the excitement is palpable, and the conversation around it has completely overshadowed anything Maurice Sam is currently working on. Even the major streaming platforms that once prominently featured Maurice and Sonia together, platforms like Iroko TV and UTV that practically built their brand partly on that pairing, now rarely cast them together anymore. That's not speculation, that's observable reality, and it speaks volumes about how the industry itself has shifted its priorities and preferences. What's become increasingly clear is that fans and producers alike seem to be collectively moving on from what many are now calling the Sonia Maurice era, like it's a completed chapter in a history book rather than an ongoing story. There's a widespread belief circulating through fan communities and industry circles that any actor who works closely with Sonia Uche tends to experience a significant rise in their career trajectory, and Brian Okora appears to be the latest beneficiary of what people are jokingly calling the Sonia effect. It's almost like she's a career catalyst, and whoever she's paired with receives a boost in visibility, popularity, and professional opportunities. Fans are absolutely cheering for the chemistry between Sonia and Brian, and their enthusiasm isn't just polite appreciation, it's full-throated, enthusiastic endorsement. Meanwhile, there's another factor contributing to this shift that we can't ignore. Many people are genuinely tired of the drama that's been swirling around Maurice, Paul, and Sonia like a tornado that refuses to dissipate. Drama can be entertaining for a while, it can generate clicks and conversations and keep people engaged, but eventually, it becomes exhausting. People start craving something fresh, something uncomplicated, something that feels more positive and less weighed down by controversy and conflicting narratives. There's this growing sentiment that people simply don't want Maurice forced back into the picture alongside Sonia anymore, like trying to put together puzzle pieces that no longer fit no matter how hard you push them. Here's something I've noticed that others have pointed out as well, and it's one of those subtle observations that reveals a lot about the underlying dynamics at play. Sonia seems noticeably more relaxed, more natural, more authentically herself when she's working with Brian Okora compared to how she appeared in recent projects with Maurice. Body language doesn't lie, and if you watch their interactions carefully, you can see the difference. With Brian, there's an ease, a comfort, a sense that she can just be herself without the weight of external drama or complicated history hanging over every scene. It's the kind of organic chemistry that you simply cannot manufacture or force, no matter how skilled the actors or how talented the director. This observation hasn't escaped the notice of fans, who have become incredibly astute at reading these subtle cues and making judgments based on what they perceive. Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not here to draw final conclusions or declare definitively what's happening behind the scenes because I don't live in these people's pockets and I'm not privy to their private conversations. What I am doing is observing the patterns, noting the shifts, and planning to look deeper into everything before forming my complete assessment. But even with that caveat, the trends are undeniable and the direction of travel seems pretty clear at this point. On a completely different note, because we can't spend all our time discussing industry drama without acknowledging the passage of time and the blessings that come with it, happy new month to everyone reading this, watching this, or engaging with this conversation in any way. December is here, and if you know anything about December, you know it's not just another month on the calendar. December is that special time filled with joy, celebration, and excitement, when the entire atmosphere seems to shift into something more festive and hopeful. It's when people reflect on the year that's passed, celebrate their victories, learn from their challenges, and look forward with anticipation to what the new year might bring. Speaking of celebrations and beautiful moments, Sonia Uche herself posted something absolutely lovely recently, and I definitely want to discuss that in more detail later because it deserves its own spotlight and proper attention. But bringing us back to the main conversation, there's something I need to address that I think plays a significant role in why this transition has been so smooth and why fans have embraced it so readily. Many people, including myself to some extent, believe that Brian Okora carries himself with a level of maturity that exceeds what we've seen from Maurice Sam. Maturity is one of those qualities that's hard to define precisely but incredibly easy to recognize when you see it, and Brian simply presents himself as a man who knows exactly what he wants, who understands the industry he's in, who navigates relationships and professional situations with a certain wisdom and discretion that commands respect. He's not out here creating unnecessary drama, he's not making controversial choices that divide public opinion, he's not getting caught up in messy situations that require public explanation or defense. He just does his work, maintains his dignity, protects his privacy, and lets his talent speak for itself. Speaking of privacy, there's been some speculation and talk circulating about Brian's personal life, with some people suggesting he might be married or at the very least is an extremely private person when it comes to his relationships. What we know for certain is that he has a child, which adds another dimension to his character and perhaps explains some of that maturity and groundedness that people respond to so positively. He's not just an actor playing roles, he's a father with real responsibilities, and that tends to change how a person moves through the world and makes decisions about their career and public image. Meanwhile, the reality that we have to acknowledge, as uncomfortable as it might be for some Maurice Sam supporters, is that a significant portion of the fanbase has genuinely lost interest in him. That's not me being cruel or trying to kick someone when they are down, that's me stating an observable fact based on engagement metrics, social media conversations, and the general buzz surrounding different actors. The fans who once championed Maurice and Sonia as the ultimate pairing have now redirected that passionate energy towards strongly pushing the Sonia and Brian Okora combination, and they are not subtle about it whatsoever. They are vocal, they are organized in their support, and they are making their preferences known to anyone who will listen, which includes producers, directors, casting agents, and the streaming platforms that ultimately decide which content gets made and promoted. One of the primary practical reasons driving this shift, beyond all the drama and speculation and personal preferences, is simply this: Sonia Uche and Maurice Sam are not doing movies together anymore. That's the bottom line. When two actors stop collaborating, when that professional relationship ends or pauses indefinitely, fans will naturally seek out new pairings to support, new on-screen relationships to invest in emotionally. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does the entertainment industry. When Maurice stepped back or was moved aside, whether by his own choices or circumstances beyond his control, that vacuum was created, and Brian Okora was right there, ready and able to fill it. He didn't have to fight for the position aggressively or campaign for it publicly. The opportunity presented itself, he rose to meet it, and now he's reaping the rewards of being in the right place at the right time with the right skills and the right approach. So here we are, standing at what feels like a turning point in Nollywood's ongoing evolution, watching as one era concludes and another begins, observing as the industry and its passionate fanbase collectively decide that change isn't just acceptable but actually preferable in this situation. Brian Okora has essentially walked into Maurice Sam's former position, made himself comfortable, and judging by the reception he's receiving, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Whether you think this shift is fair or unfair, justified or harsh, the result is the same: the landscape has changed, the throne has a new occupant, and everyone is adjusting to this new reality. What remains to be seen is whether this is a permanent shift or just a temporary phase, whether Maurice Sam can stage some kind of comeback or whether his time alongside Sonia Uche has truly passed into history. Only time will tell, but right now, in this moment, all the evidence points in one clear direction. Now I want to hear from you because your voice matters in this conversation and your perspective adds depth to how we understand what's happening in the industry. What do you think about this entire situation? Are you Team Brian Okora and Sonia Uche, excited about this fresh pairing and the chemistry they bring to the screen? Or are you still holding out hope that Maurice and Sonia Uche will somehow find their way back to that magic they once had? Do you think the industry and fans have been too harsh on Maurice, or do you believe that actions have consequences and he's simply experiencing the results of his choices? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below because I genuinely want to know where you stand on this. And if you found this analysis valuable, if it gave you insights you hadn't considered before or simply entertained you for these few minutes, do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, and share this video with anyone who loves Nollywood drama as much as we do. Let's keep this conversation going, let's support the actors and stories we love, and let's continue to hold the industry accountable while celebrating the talent that makes Nollywood the vibrant, dynamic, endlessly fascinating world that it is. Until next time, keep watching, keep discussing, and keep supporting our channel. Peace out and one love.